Welcome to Animal Chat, an Alberta SPCA podcast, where we talk about animal welfare, animal behavior, and animal protection. I'm Dan Colby, and thank you for listening and for being passionate about animal welfare and compassionate for the animals in our province. Today, we're discussing the enrichment for hens at Alberta's egg farms. There are more than 170 registered egg farms in our province, with about 16,000 hens per farm. Egg farmers are all either family-owned or run by Hutterite colonies, and they have standards for these farmers for both the safety of the food that they produce and to ensure that the birds are living healthy lives that allow them to exhibit their natural behaviors. I have two guests today. First, Levi Hofer from the Lethbridge area. He is an egg farmer here in Alberta, and Carly Frericks is the Farm Programs Coordinator for the Egg Farmers of Alberta. Welcome to the podcast to both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So let's start, Levi, with you. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your farm, which is, you say, a little bit east of Lethbridge?
Yeah, the farm was established in 1924, and we've been egg farmers ever since. So we're just about at 100 years celebration of being an egg farmer.
Wow, that's amazing. And how many hens do you have at your farm?
We have a capacity of 12,300 hens that we house at flock size, and loving it.
And Carly, as a farm programs coordinator for Egg Farmers of Alberta, what is it that you do?
So my position involves the delivery and process associated with some of our national on-farm programs. And I think we're likely going to focus a bit on that today, given the topic. So these on-farm programs include the animal care program, the on-farm food safety program, which is called Start Clean, Stay Clean. We also have a producer environmental egg program, which is quaintly called PEEP. And then we also have some farm safety and additional assessments and stuff that we do on farm. Other aspects of my work include moving forward with agriculture research, facilitating producer relations and services, assisting with presentations and meetings, and then any other related projects or assignments. So like Levi, I am also incredibly passionate for the work that I do.
Excellent. Well, we know Albertans are far more passionate and invested these days in knowing not only where their food comes from, but they want to know that the animals that are on farms are well taken care of. Levi, can you tell us a bit about the birds on your farm and what an average day is like for your hens?
Oh, an average day for the hens are amazing. It touches my heart every morning when I walk into my barn. To see the birds being taken care of, the technology that we have nowadays, it's unbelievable. It's giving the birds top quality air every day with food provided for them at an hourly base. Water is most important for birds. The water is as clean as you can possibly think about it. And plus, the birds, they wake up in the morning to a sunrise, and like the lights would slowly taper up into the capacity, the light intensity that's recommended for that flock. So it gives the birds a feeling of, it's morning, it's time to wake up, and they get up, they stretch themselves, and just like us, it's amazing what they do, what really touches me. And everything is there for them. They don't have to worry about it's going to rain today. Is it going to snow today? Their humidity in the barn is taken care of through the technology that we have nowadays. They start eating, they drink, they have nesting areas, they perch, and they scratch and play with the scratch on the scratching pads, and they're still taken care of even during the hot summer heat. We have cooling systems in place. If the temperature gets to a certain temperature level, the birds, the cooling system will kick in and keep the temperature at a comfy temperature for the birds. And towards the end of the day, guess what? The lights will start tapering off, indicating to the birds that say, it's time to go to bed. They're nicely fed. They're nice. They had water all day and they're ready for production the next day. And they find a place to perch because they know within the next hour, there's going to be dark in here and we need a place to perch. They perch and they fall asleep. And to me, as a farmer and an egg farmer, that just amazes me.
Now, what you're describing sounds like a free run barn. Is that correct?
No, actually, it's not. It's called an enriched housing system, where birds live in apartments, kind of thing. And in those apartments, they have their natural behaviors. They have their nesting areas. They have their scratching pads, their purchases, their feeders, and they just live in there. They're just happy. They scratch and play and eat and they have top quality air ventilation, and this is what the bird needs, is confidence.
And these are you've listed a number of things such as perches and such, and those are the things that a hen, if it did indeed live in an outdoor environment, able to go wherever it wanted, those are the things that would be looking for, correct?
Yeah, but you have to be really careful. Outside access to wild birds is the dangerous things for birds that in the egg production. The disease carriers from other birds is very, very critical. We monitor fly birds activity outside and kind of increase our biosecurity inside the barn when those wild birds are active, like spring and summer or spring and fall. We really have to be careful with access into the barns because those birds easily pick up that germ and then they're really sick, So it's nice that they have a roof over top of them that they're taken care of with their natural behaviors inside, and to be honest with you, they're really happy. They're very, very happy.
Yeah, you might hear from a lot of people in the public who may not be aware of how a farm operates, that they want the birds to be able to free roam, go outside, do whatever they want. But as you mentioned, that comes with significant risk for those birds.
Mm-hmm. There are free runs out for Alberta. We do produce free run product as Canada demands for free run. The consumer demands a free run product. We have it on shelf. We have flocks that do have free run and organic. And those flocks they're being nicely taken care of too. And there are challenges in those flocks, but it's possible. But on the other hand, it's more expensive too for the consumer to purchase an egg that's free run because of not only the labor but the footprint that those birds need on a free run system is just about double the footprint that enriched housing system needs, the one that we farm here.
Now, you refer to the enriched housing system. I know that one of the biggest risks to birds on a farm is actually the other birds. Does that system help limit the potential for birds from pecking each other?
Yeah, that's a very good point, and I'm glad you brought it up. Yes, absolutely, and that all starts right at day one, and that's where I'm going to kind of touch on technology that we have now that we didn't have years and years ago. I remember when I was a little boy, it was a way different ballgame. The technology wasn't there as it is today. The system that I have, we installed in 2013. It was one of the first enriched housing system in North America. And it all starts in your pullet barn. The day old chicks where you kind of raise the birds and manage the birds to have a good uniformity. That means that they're all the same size. The body weights are all the same body weight. And we follow weekly targets with body weights in the pullet barn where we would make sure that those body weights are just maybe 50 grams above target within that range and a good uniformity. And what I'm saying about uniformity is 99% uniformity. This is our target. And by doing this, you got to have a vet involved. You have to have a good licensed nutrition involved. And most of all, a good manager and good ventilation. Like I say, with the technology nowadays, we can do it, and we have done it. Now, once the bird is done in the pullet barn, you have this flock at 19 weeks of age. Yeah, they're ready to lay eggs. Uniformly 99%. And the body weights are 30, grams above target, you got a healthy, beautiful bird that's ready to put eggs on a consumer level. Now we transfer those birds into the enriched housing system that I have here, and yes, there's no bullies in that system. Why? Because the uniform is all the same, body weights are good, and by having the light intensity and keeping them calm. What I mean with calm is make sure that the scratch pads have food trickling onto them every hour, so they have, instead of picking on each other, they would pick on the scratch pads. Kind of take their mind away from picking on each other, and those are the little tools that we can manage. And if you manage that right, you'll have a very good flock that won't pick at all.
Science and technology, as you mentioned, has come a long way, and certainly makes the ability to care for birds a lot easier than it would have been decades ago.
Absolutely. It's and even now, in 2013, when we take our control panel and look at it, and versus the one that's released last year, even that has changed. It keeps on even changing every year. And what really amazes me is everything that's being done in those systems. The farmer just doesn't buy the system and step it into his barn and put birds in. That's not the way it works. It works through research, number one. Any system that's released for the farmer has proven research, and with research, it's stamped that this system works and this ventilation. And before we even install that ventilation, we kind of put it on the computer and fire it up at like 100% ventilation and watch it and see what it's doing at minus 40 or even plus 40 and see how that barn performs with those birds in there. And if there's something that's not working there, that's where we can trigger it and fix it before we even start installing the system. So again, it's not just toys, kids playing with toys. This is all through professionals, research, and it's time to work.
Excellent. We'll change gears a little bit. And Carly, the Egg Farmers of Alberta represent egg producers in our province. Can you explain briefly what the organization does exactly?
So we are a not-for-profit organization that was incorporated in 1968. And the purpose was to provide effective promotion, control, and regulation of marketing eggs in Alberta. So we actually have 11 employees on staff, and each of those individuals has a role within the organization. Some of our responsibilities include ensuring we are working within those regulations, enforcing supply management, marketing and communication for community engagement, finance, of course, and delivery of some of these on-farm programs to the farmers. So we are a provincial organization for egg farmers, but there's also a national organization called Egg Farmers of Canada, and they are responsible for managing the supply of eggs, promotion of eggs, and developing the standards for egg farmers across all 10 provinces, as well as the Northwest Territories.
And as I understand it, if you have more than 300 birds and you want to sell eggs in Alberta, you go through the Egg Farmers of Alberta, correct?
That's correct, yeah. In order to sell eggs, and if you have more than 300 birds, you need to be a quota holder at that point. So
how does the organization ensure that hens are living their those healthy, productive lives that the consumers want to know that they're living?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So as I mentioned before, we have quite a few different programs. The animal care program is focused on ensuring that hens are living a happy, healthy life. And this program is developed by our national organization, again, that I mentioned, Egg Farmers of Canada, or sorry, not our national organization, the national organization. And it is implemented on farm using resources and tools that we develop here at the provincial organization. The animal care program itself is based off of the codes of practice, and that's developed by the National Farm Animal Care Council. The National Farm Animal Care Council is a national leader for farm animal care and welfare in Canada. And their organization is a collaborative partnership between a diverse group of stakeholders, which can include representation from research, veterinary medicine, industry, animal rights, and all those individuals come together and facilitate and coordinate a consistent approach to farm animal welfare in Canada.
And so the organization does check in on all of the egg farms in Alberta, correct?
That's correct.
So how often does that happen, and how does that look?
Yes. So the farms are checked quite regularly. We have 2 field staff that cover all the egg farmers in the entire province of Alberta. They're on farm at least 3 times a year to provide producers with coaching and support. The National Egg Agency, Egg Farmers of Canada, also has designated provincial field auditors who are on farm at least once a year, and they're verifying the programs are being implemented as they were intended. And then finally, we also have, to remain objective, producers will have a third-party auditor. So that individual is not involved in the program development or implementation. And they'll go out onto farm about every 3 years as well to make sure that we're being consistent across all the fronts.
So when it comes to animal welfare, what would those inspectors be looking for?
So they're going to be looking at a variety of things. So there's some key components to that animal care program. So some of those things will include general management, proper animal handling, flock and hen care, as well as looking at some of the different housing systems and requirements that come along with those based off of research.
Now, obviously, the intention is to ensure that a farmer is in compliance, and if they're in the quota system, they would have been certainly from the very beginning. What happens if they fall out of compliance? What steps do you take?
Yeah, so I guess I'll backtrack a bit and kind of explain how it works. So the different components of the animal care program are weighed. Those elements of higher concern, such as having access to feed and water, are obviously weighed more heavily than those that are less crucial, like signing the date of an employee code of conduct. So the producers must meet all those element requirements to score full points. If the element requirements are not met, the producer is issued a corrective action request, and they are given a certain time frame to correct their mistake. If the producer is not correcting their mistake, they can actually jeopardize losing their license. Additionally, if producers are not meeting the expectations of the program, they can be removed from the Egg Quality Assurance Program. And so what that program is it's an industry-wide initiative that certifies Canadian eggs are produced according to the food safety and animal welfare standards.
We here at the Alberta SPCA, people will contact us on a regular basis concerned that, as they would put it, industry is policing itself and they find a problem with that. From what we see, and confirm if I have this right, Carly, is that policing may not be the best term, but for a producer to lose their license to sell eggs, that's a big deal. That's the big stick, if you will.
That's right. Like that's a loss of livelihood, right? So that's a huge deal for them.
And I'm going to guess that most producers don't come close to falling out of compliance.
No, we have really high success rates with our programs. Most, if not all, producers are achieving 90+%. So they're doing amazing.
And to both of you, Carly and Levi, you can take turns jumping in on this one. Animal welfare, obviously very important for the health of the animals, but it would also have a dramatic impact on the productivity of the hens while they are laying, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. It's if you do a daily record keeping of feed consumption, water consumption, barn temperatures, and you daily record it, it's like you're living with the birds. They're a part of the family. You take care, you monitor them, and you make sure that it gets fed and get their nutrition. And if it comes to making a feed change, what the bird needs, well, this is where you have to get the nutrition involved, the vet involved, and you would make a ration change according to what the bird needs. Not to, let's put more feed in there and just feed it more, but you need to make a ration change and formulate that ration according to body weights, uniformity, feed consumption, water consumption, and barn temperatures. It's all combined, and by giving the bird the correct feed, what the bird needs, this is where the bird comes back the next day and says, I'm going to give my farmer the best top quality egg for the consumer. And this is what we need. We need fresh, top quality eggs And by doing that, you need to give the bird what the bird needs.
And Carly, you see that province-wide as well, I would imagine.
Yeah, definitely.
Decisions, Levi, as you were talking, made with the best interests of the birds in mind, not the best interests of profit.
Absolutely. The best interest of what is the best for the bird and what is the best for the consumer at the consumer level, what the consumer demands. Consumer buys large eggs. They don't buy medium eggs. So that's as a farmer, is, I'm going to produce with my nutritionist and my vet, I'm going to produce as much large eggs from that flock as I can for the consumer. But it's got to be, in order to do that, you need to have healthy hens, good management, and good feed. Absolutely good feed.
Sounds like you're pretty passionate about this, Levi.
Well, you have to be. If you're not passionate with it, it's no success. You need to be passionate, and that's why we are moving the way we are. We have all our producers in Alberta. We're very passionate. Personally, myself, I do a lot of egg ambassador meetings. I go to schools, and I give them presentations about the kids and where the egg comes from, and what we do in the barns. I show them pictures, and you know what, they're amazing. And I think by educating our consumers and the public of what it takes to feed this world with eggs, it's so important, and that we farmers, we're not just sitting here on the fence post. We're out there. We're doing the best, and we're sweating. We're doing the best that we possibly can when it comes to producing eggs.
Excellent. Well, it's impossible to go over all the details of the egg industry in one podcast, but there is so much information on the Egg Farmers of Alberta website, and we'll have a link to that on our website on the show page section. So go to albertaspca.org/news/podcast. And we also have photos and information from today's guests to just round out what we've talked about here today. Thank you, both Carly and Levi, for joining me today.
Thank you.
Thank you for the invitation to join.
And if you enjoyed this episode of Animal Chat, we invite you to go back to our podcast from August 20th titled Budgies Are Not Starter Pets, which explains the level of care budgies and other pairs require to live happy and healthy lives. Thank you for listening to Animal Chat, and we'll talk to you again soon.